But Michelle, we face this as a policy matter, a matter of governance, as well as an acute financial need, whether it's freeing up lending, clearing out some of the structural underbrush in the financial system that has been crippled by this credit crisis, or in this case, it's trying to assess the viability of the big three automakers in the country. You have to ask yourself a medium-term question, which is, where are we going to be after we staunch the bleeding?
Absolutely, and this always leads to the question of what is the actual and proper role of government. You know, Nancy Pelosi sent the three big automakers back, and they were supposed to come back and give Congress a term for long-term viability. You will notice in listening to the hearings, we didn't hear much at all about the generation of profits in the future. These companies are already acting as if they are bankrupt. Their stocks are down. They've got distressed values. They have openly told the American public and really the world at large that there's a very good chance that a lot of their debtors are not going to be paid in full. They are operating in bankruptcy already. The points that have been made already in the program about the fact that people are not buying their cars really elicit from a policy perspective what exactly, if anything, should government be doing for these automakers. And also, David, quite frankly, one of the things that people need to remember is that without some sort of a structured bankruptcy, what are the chances that these big three automakers are going to be able to get the unions like the United Auto Workers Union to come in and sort of change their practices. It's one thing for the car companies to pay for labor unions, to pay for non-working people to get 95% of their salary. It's another thing to ask the American public to pay for that.
And Christian,
well, the unions have promised. I mean, let's just say the unions have promised. The
question, Michelle, is whether or not the future of the Republican Party is a return to conservative principles, or is it a kind of reinvention along the lines that George Bush had wanted to start with an issue like immigration, an appeal to minorities, those in the party like Ken Mellman and the President Bush and others who say, no, the party has to become different, or it's going to become a small regional party that can only have real influence and a lock on victory in places like Georgia.
Yeah, it's actually, David, I think it's got to be a combination of the two. If you look at the outgoing Bush administration, it was not an administration that relied on traditional economic conservative values. It was an administration that really just sort of grew government amok. But that being said, in addition to returning to, typical fiscal Republican values, the Republican Party in this country will not survive if it is not a party that reaches out to African Americans, that reaches out to Hispanics, and that reaches out to women. Those are core constituencies. The Republican Party of white male America only is forever gone. We are a different nation today, and for that reason alone, the Republican Party is really going to have to change the way that it reaches out to all Americans.
Let me get a comment from some others on the panel about